We should probably do some sort of introduction. Like, hi, everybody. I'm Patricia.
I'm Lee.
And we're weird as fuck.
Yeah, I suppose you probably should, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Because someday we might be famous. Okay. So. Are you ready to get weird?
Sure.
Your enthusiasm is intoxicating.
Give me something weird, baby.
That's exactly why people tune out. You know that, right?
Well, I guess I'll just have to listen somewhere else then.
At least we're having a good time. Okay, so I recently listened to an episode of Crime Countdown, which I adore, by the way. It's a fun podcast. I definitely recommend tuning in. And they talked about Florida man stories. And I thought they were entertaining. They were funny as hell. I participated in the internet challenge of, putting in your birthday and Florida man and seeing what happened on your birthday. And there's some pretty wild stuff out there. Mine was naked Florida man wrestles alligator in the middle of interstate or something like that. It was quite a story. But I also feel like Florida man gets unfairly targeted because the reason it's not that there are more loonies in Florida. It's just that Florida has different standards when it comes to releasing that information to the public.
There's some really weird shit that goes on in Florida.
We had a guy in Washington die from having sex with a horse. So weird shit is happening everywhere.
Yeah, when they do this thing on the brew where they have weird stories and you have to guess if they're Portland or Florida or something else. And there was some weird shit that went on in Florida. So
some pretty weird shit that goes on in Portland.
Yeah, there was plenty of shit that went on. They were all right up there.
So now everything that I'm picking out is going to be these are quotes taken directly from news stories regarding these crimes. But I decided to do a dive into news stories from the past 10 years nationwide and grab the weirdest crimes that I could find, excluding Florida. I felt that we just needed to leave Florida out of this one.
Yeah, you should have. That's weird enough. Why not?
You know what? I will have another episode where we talk just about Florida. And I'll probably have a third one where we talk just about Portland because they're weird over there. They've literally got it on a mural. They've made it their calling card.
Mm-hmm. Keep Portland weird.
Yeah. So, but I decided Florida man had been unjustly targeted, and it was time to bring the spotlight to the rest of our glorious nation. So hold on, buckle up, because we're taking a deep dive into weird shit that's happened in the United States in the past decade.
Except for Florida.
Because you already know weird shit's going down there, so we don't need to point that out. So, are you ready? I moved my microphone because it's kind of up my nose right now. All right. So this one takes place in Kansas City. I don't know if it's Kansas City, Kansas or Kansas City, Missouri. I'm sorry. Why in hell you would name two cities so close to each other the same thing is beyond me, but that's weird enough. Let's start there. Okay, so this one says, and I quote, "Generally, when being interrogated by police, it's best to keep your mouth shut unless you have your lawyer by your side. But maybe there's another way to get out of trouble. Sean A. Sykes Jr., a 24-year-old resident of Kansas City, was riding in a car in which police found drugs and 2 handguns, so he was taken in for further questioning. When a detective asked Sykes about his address, he leaned to one side of his chair and released a loud fart before answering with the address. The detectives wrote in his report about the interrogation. That was a quote from the detective's report. The barrage of farts continued, and according to the detective, he continued to be flatulent, and I ended the interview. Though he was not charged, Sykes was pulled over 2 months later, and they found crack and a stolen gun in his car, and he went to prison. But yeah, he got out of a police interrogation by farting loudly and repeatedly until they finally let him go.
Must have been pretty smelly.
I feel like Colin could probably get out of a police interrogation that way.
Yeah.
That would entertain me. Sorry. I have the soul of a 12-year-old boy. What can I say? This one takes place in Chicago, Illinois. So, a robber in Chicago, according to the Sun Times, it was 19-year-old Terrian Pouncey, held up a hot dog stand with a gun in the West Pullman neighborhood of the city's south side, shortly after 6 a.m. After snatching the cash, he made a break for it, and shoving his gun into the front of his pants, accidentally shot off his own penis. He was taken to Christ Medical Center and arrested, and joins the ranks of other infamous Unical movie villains, like the mugger from RoboCop and the villain from 21 Jump Street, who apparently also did the same thing.
There's been a lot of
I've seen those stories
off.
many times, and I felt like that one needed to be highlighted because it was just too beautiful. If you're going to shove your gun down the front of your pants, make sure the safety's on at least. I mean, come on, dude.
Common sense.
Maybe you don't have your finger on the trigger.
Apparently, his penis wasn't very important to him.
Yeah, he's done with it. 19.
Now it's gone
and
bye-bye.
19.
And your height of your sexual crap is
Not anymore.
When you're 18, 19.
Now he's just angry.
Took care of that. So if you still got your balls, I wonder if you'd still be horny because your balls are making everything, but it can't get out. That would be horrible.
It's all bad. It's just all bad.
Well, I don't feel sorry for the fucker. He's the idiot anyway.
I would like to think that this is an entry deserving of a Darwin Award, honestly.
Yeah,
He's effectively removed himself from the gene pool to the benefit of us all.
That's what holsters are made for, and you put them on your side or your back.
Safety.
Then if you shoot yourself in the butt, it's a whole lot easier than shooting yourself in the dick.
Just turn on the safety. It's not
Well,
complicated.
you're talking about people that are robbing a hot dog stand.
I think
There's some big dollars there.
And that's why I chose this one, because he was robbing a hot dog stand when he shot off his own wiener.
Yep.
You get it? You get where I was going? I was tired, okay? Whatever. So, in this story, in Ohio, 3 young men, I'm assuming they're, youngish, 33, 35, and 41, with the help of a teenage boy, sexually assaulted nearly a dozen farm animals and an unspecified number of dogs.
God.
Matthew Brubaker, Mark Mesnikoff, and Terry Wallace were all sentenced to prison in April for their bizarre brand of animal husbandry. The Twisted Trio did appear to have one standard. They at least chose all female animals.
Let's go out and rape some animals tonight, guys.
Nearly a dozen farm animals and an unspecified number of dogs.
Busy guys.
Let me say that again for the people in the back. Nearly a dozen farm animals and an unspecified number of dogs. Dude, gross. Is it wrong that I'm just a little impressed, though? I mean, wow.
So what are they just all...
I don't want to know.
King being a poor little animal?
I don't know.
Can't be good.
It's all bad. Maybe that's what we should have named the podcast. It's all bad.
See those guys, all the animals run.
Oh, no kidding. Holy cow. Those poor dogs. That one was entitled Noah's Ark Met Caligula, which, oddly fitting. So, in this one, in Utah, it reads that police got an unexpected 2-for-1 when they were called to check up on an elderly woman neighbors hadn't seen in a while and found a pair of bodies. It's not quite what you think, though. The woman, Jeannie Soren Mathers, was 74 years old and died alone in her apartment. So it was just an unattended death. But when they checked up on Jeannie and called paramedics because she hadn't been dead for very long, they found the body of her husband, who'd been missing for 11 years, in the freezer. Foul play is suspected. So apparently, Miss Jeannie murdered her husband and effectively got away with it.
I was probably cashing his Social Security checks.
I know, but can you imagine the surprise? I mean, this little old lady, and she's like, holy crap, she murdered somebody, and he's in the freezer.
Nice.
The kids are eating ice cream out of the freezer, not knowing that Grandpa's
Don't go in the freezer, son.
Don't move the package of weenies. Okay, it's not funny.
Weenies? Really?
Sorry. I apologize. Speaking of weird neighbors, this one reads, and this one is from, I remember seeing this one on the news. Okay. I forgot to write down where this one was.
Oh, well. It's the story that matters.
Yeah, I can't remember if this one was in the Southwest. I want to say it was in the Southwest. So Maria del Carmen was being investigated for the disappearance of her husband. And the police were coming to basically search her house, and she knew they were coming. So she handed over a box to her neighbor that she said was full of sex toys, that she was afraid that the police would see and she'd be humiliated. And the neighbor, I have no idea what the thought process is when somebody hands you a box and says,
gotta look.
This is full of dildos, hold this. I'd be like, no. No, you keep that. But the neighbor said, okay, I'll put this in the garage or whatever. And then the box started to stink. So the neighbor, being curious, wondered, what the heck kind of sex toys do you have that smell like this? And she opened it and found not dildos, but a head. Apparently.
Oh boy, just a head.
Oh, no. I don't know what she did with the rest of the body.
Little keepsake.
Why would you keep it?
Some people like prizes.
Well, serial killers, yeah. But if you kill your partner in a crime of passion, why would you want to keep any part of him?
If you really hate him and you want to see him dead all the time.
The knowledge of it is enough for me. Thank you.
Should put it in a pickle jar or something like that, though.
Ew. This one is, of course, out of Louisiana, the state second in my heart to Florida for weird stories. So a Louisiana man pretended to have special needs so he could hire a caregiver to change his diapers. Yeah. So Rutledge Diaz IV, all the other Rutledge Diaz's are intensely proud. I'm sure. The fourth. There are three others.
Special.
Was sentenced to 5 years probation and 400 hours of community service, and has to maintain employment, and attend addiction counseling via the internet because it's COVID, and must refrain from using social media. So apparently the story is that in November 2019, the New Orleans police received reports that Diaz was using the internet to engage in fraud and later commit sexual battery. Through the course of their investigation, they learned that he had advertised on social media to find a home health care worker to look after his disabled 18-year-old brother, whom he called Corey. It was, in fact, him. Once the workers arrived, however, he pretended to be this Corey and have the women change his diapers, which aroused him sexually. One of his victims, an unnamed woman, provided care for him on at least 10 separate occasions before she realized he was a pervert. They arrested him at his home on November 12, 2019, charged him, and said that at least two women found out about his lies only after his arrest. So they had gone and they had provided care for him because home health care workers are amazing people.
You think you would have a Woody every time they're doing it and they would be flipped out about it?
When I worked at the care center, that would happen sometimes when I had to change their diapers. It's involuntary. It doesn't mean that they're perverts. It just means that their bodies are responding to being touched. And yeah, it's gross if you're the care worker, but it's also natural. It's not something that would have ever occurred to me necessarily, that this was somebody who was doing this deliberately to fool me.
Yeah. If it's like every time and he's got a Woody, I would think something's going on.
Not necessarily. A mentally disabled person of 18 years, as you've already pointed out with the Wiener Bandit. That's sort of the height of your hormonal prowess.
Yeah, they have absolutely no dick control.
None at all. I mean...
Stiff breeze, boing.
Do you think that's why they call it a stiff breeze?
Probably. That's all it takes.
Oh my God. This went south fast. Okay. Okay. So in Auburn, Washington, because I had to bring it back home at least once, that officers found had been called to Hagen Lake taps on 5 occasions since Christmas Day. On that day, the suspect in question had stolen thousands of dollars worth of cigarettes and liquor. There were 4 additional 911 calls, 2 on January 15th and 1 on the 16th, and another this morning. And they said that, I forgot to write down the date of the Facebook post, but you get the idea. So in fairly short order. Authorities had videos of the thefts, but gleaned very little identifying information about the mystery man, as he appeared to be completely masked. Because sometimes people do remember to cover their faces when there are security cameras.
There are a few of them out there.
On further investigation, they discovered that not only was he robbing the grocery store, but he was apparently living in the ceiling. And that's why he was able to get in so easily. They said it was very, very difficult to track him down. They spent probably 4.5 hours going up into the rafters and trying to hunt him down. But it was difficult because there were many, many little hiding places where he could have been. It's such a large store and very crowded with venting and everything. Customers of the market marveled at the bizarre nature of the crimes, with one saying it sounded like something he had heard about with someone living in secret at an airport. That wasn't so much secret. It was in Charles de Gaulle Airport, and it was because when he entered the country, they refused to honor his passport. And he couldn't leave because his country wouldn't take him back. So he got stuck in the airport for, I don't remember how long it was. It was like a decade. It was a while. Anyway, yeah, they never found him. So they have no idea where he's gotten to. But yeah, he was effectively living in the rafters of the store and stealing liquor and cigarettes. One would hope maybe some healthy food options too while I was at it.
Doubt it.
Yeah, well. So this one takes us back to Missouri. Deputies in Clay County, Missouri, were searching a wooded area for a man wanted for possession of a controlled substance when the subject passed gas so loudly that his hiding spot was revealed. The agency posted on their Facebook page that if you have a felony warrant for your arrest, the cops are looking for you, and you pass gas so loud it gives up your hiding spot, you're definitely going to have a shit day.
Can't find him. Oh, shit, there he is.
That's exactly how I would get busted.
Yeah.
I just know it. Oh, my God. Or like yesterday during my interview, every time I drank water, my stomach was like, oh, please stop. It was so bad. I'm sure he's going to go back and listen to that recording as he's filling out his paperwork, and he's going to hear my stomach just absolutely going nuts. And
oh, well.
It is what it is. It's all I can do. So for our last story, we go to Ada, Oklahoma, because I want to leave you with a story that's as far away from home as one can reasonably get.
It's like you didn't get any in Portland.
No, I decided to save Portland for another day because it deserves a category all its own.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty.
When I drive through the Hollywood district and I see guys in assless chaps with wearing thongs in the middle of the day and nobody even bats an eye, I can only imagine what kind of weird shit is happening that does get people's attention.
Yeah, just like Portlandia. It's actually accurate of what people look like and act like in Portland.
Well, and I think that's why people
downtown,
people outside of Portland that thought Portlandia was such a brilliant show because it was so funny and so weird. And most of the people that I know here locally who watched it just found it annoying, probably because it was so accurate and so weird.
Yeah, that's just the way they are. They're not acting. That's
No.
the way they act.
It's not funny because it's true. We don't like it. Make it stop. Okay. So back to Ada, Oklahoma. Police arrested 28-year-old Christy Dawn Harris after a search of her car yielded meth, drug paraphernalia, a pistol, and ammunition. Why is this weird, you ask? While she was booked into the station, she complained that she needed to go to the bathroom. She eventually consented to a cavity search, and an officer noticed the handle of a revolver sticking out from inside of her body. The officer recovered a revolver from her vagina, as well as several bags of meth. Sorry, that was a hard one to say. Meth wedged into the cracks of her buttocks. So she was loaded, man. So she had a gun in her gooch and drugs in her butt cheeks.
Nice.
She's a classy lady.
Quality woman right there.
I'm not carrying your gun for you.
That would hurt.
I would think so. I mean, how would you even get it up there? I don't want to know.
Well, there's some women that can easily put something big in there.
Just like men, women come in different sizes.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that.
I'm assuming she's probably pretty big down there.
Well, maybe, but still, even then, there's a lot of sharp points on a gun.
Yep.
That would not feel nice.
I was trying to not get herself put in jail.
Yeah, but imagine the police pull you over and that's your first thought. Let me grab the gun and stick it in my cooch and hope for the best.
And then stick the meth in my butt crack.
Did you, for our Instagram page, I posted a story about a lady who just got arrested. And when they did the body cavity search, they found a whole meth pipe in her butthole. Her picture, her mugshot is glorious. It's fantastic.
I haven't been on Facebook in a while. It's probably still, I haven't seen it.
It's a good one. She looks, she looks either high or crazy. It's
probably both.
She's exactly what you would picture a meth addict who's walking around with a meth pipe shoved in her butt would look like. It's fantastic. I laughed so hard. Which is probably incredibly unkind of me to do, but
yeah,
I'm at peace with it. So that is a sampling of stories from around the nation, except for Florida.
And Portland.
And Portland. Just to demonstrate for you that the weird is everywhere.
Oh, I know it is.
But I will do Portland.
There'll be so much.
There's so many. Some days I just turn on the news and I'm like, excuse me, wait, what now? The world we live in is weird. We either have to laugh or cry. I choose to laugh. So anyway, we hope you like these stories. If you have stories of your own, please send them to us because, we'll laugh with you. Or sit appalled with you. Whatever way. It's fine.
Join us.
Like us.
Like us.
Follow us. Bye.
Bye.
Want to stay connected between shows? You can find us on Instagram at WeirdAsFCKPodcast, on Twitter at WeirdAsFuckPod1, on Facebook at WeirdAsFCKPodcast. Send us an email at weirdasfckkpodcast@gmail.com, or come on over to our website at www.weirdasfck.com. There you can check out our blog, pick up some merch, look over our sources, and even share your weird experiences. You might even make it on a future episode. We would love to hear from you. Until then, tune in and keep it weird.